Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion. Delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take. How your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And then remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money. I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we're celebrating today, but you could probably guess, no, this isn't my normal attire. I don't usually wear a hat. But other than that, and I hate ties. So, but it is St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day. And the St. Patrick's Day commemorate the day St. Patrick was born. St. Patrick was died. It's when he was died. That's what St. Patrick's Day is. Yeah, coming from the Jewish guy, I knew that one. That is the commemoration. And today is also National Corned Beef and Cabbage Day. Now, if you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv or any of our socials, you can go and look on my Facebook page, I think it was. I might have done it on Instagram also. But I did post a link on there onto probably what will be the number one seller on Amazon today. Yes, it's Beano. For those of you that are affected by the cabbage, Beano is a goodie for that. Are you a corned beef and cabbage individual? Do you like corned beef and cabbage? I asked my wife before I left for the studio this morning, where are we getting our corned beef and cabbage today? She's not a fan. She said, how about corned beef and eggs or corned beef hash? Okay, well, I like that one too. Let's move right along and see what's going on. Are you going to we should put that as a question, Josh. Corned beef and cabbage, yay or nay? Now, I see Mitchell's watching us. He probably doesn't want any corned beef or cabbage today, and he certainly doesn't like going to restaurants. So we're not going to take Mitchell with us at all to any of those places. But corned beef and cabbage, yay or nay? Is that are you going to participate, or are you abstaining today? And you know something? It's one of the few days that on our traditional site, there's basically nothing on there other than St. Patrick's Day and corned beef and cabbage. But I do see that on one of the other sites, Act Happy Day. Act Happy Day is today as well. Yeah, okay. And Campfire Girls Day, Doctor Patient Trust Day, Evacuation Day. Eat enough corned beef and cabbage, and you will be evacuating, I promise. But I don't think that's what they had in mind. Let's get on with the broadcast today. What are we celebrating today? We've got, or not celebrating. I already did that. The markets, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 240 points. The S&P 500 up 15 points. NASDAQ down 41. Oil up 34 cents. Still under $70 a barrel. 67.52 is the oil prices today. And I am looking because I can. Now, I know that we're about 28% taxes and fees in California for gasoline. National average, 307, 308 a gallon. Now, I don't have a calculator handy for me right now, but if I were to look, and I'm just going to guess at this one right now, that California, our price, according to AAA, is $4.66 a gallon. And if we were to say we're going to take 72% of that, which is when we take off the taxes and the fees, that's $3.35 a gallon. The national average is $3.08 a gallon. So are we really seeing price gouging, Governor Newsom? Or wait a second. Yes, we do have price gouging, Governor Newsom. It's the state of California that's gouging us. And it's killing us because we're, I don't know, $1.60 a gallon more than the national average. Josh is over there in one of the states that's still on the highest end of the spectrum. And they're at like, what, 330, Josh, give or take? 330 a gallon? Okay, so they're $1.30 a gallon less than us, and they're still one of the highest price states. And the oil-producing state of Hawaii, they're at $4.50 a gallon, $4.52. They're significantly less than us. And Louisiana, well, they're not the lowest. They're at $2.71 a gallon. Mississippi at $2.63 a gallon. $2.63, over $2 a gallon cheaper than we are in California. I wonder where, I had a conversation this morning. We like these prices. We like to have the high prices of gasoline. And if we didn't like them so high, obviously we would do something about it, but we keep voting for the exact same people over and over again. And now we see that Newsom's already starting his run for president. You can see that's already coming up. It's already on the way. It's amazing. Now, ironically enough, and I get a lot of hecklers online, and they kid me about the fact that, we're watching and what the kind of chaos right now as the government reset goes on. What does a government reset mean? Well, stop getting ripped off is what the way the president puts it. I mean, when you think about it, that Europe taxes our gasoline, our alcohol, our coming into the European Union, but we don't tax theirs. Is that a fair playing field? Germany was asked, the chancellor of Germany was asked about Chevrolets in Germany. They don't have any. Why? 50% tariff. Wonder what would happen if we put a 50% tariff on Mercedes-Benz coming into the United States. Seems to me it's only fair. Why wouldn't we do the exact same thing? We've got egg prices. Our egg prices, even though they've gone down recently, Canada still puts a massive tariff on U.S. eggs. But we're not supposed to tariff them anything? Now, the president's getting a lot of heat over saying, well, Canada should be the 51st state. Well, I don't know whether that's true or not. But the fact is that Trudeau said that if the U.S. tariffs their products the same as what they tariff ours, it'll kill their economy. Is it our job to get ripped off so that to benefit their economy? Is that what we're supposed to do? I don't think so. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, rising inventory means this spring could be your moment. And in the Who Do You Know segment, you've outgrown your home, but is now really the right time to move, and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
As the economy slows, do you know anyone worried about job loss? At Siegel Lending Team, we offer the Home Select Loan. Think of it as a financial superhero cape for homeowners with good income and credit. It not only saves your home, but also throws a life ring to your credit score. Because who needs stress when you can have peace of mind? Let's secure your future with a smile. Visit rsrhomeselect.com. rsrhomeselect.com, NMLS 217037.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You've got the phone. Make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates, with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They do not tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They only tell us the number you put in your mortgage calculator to figure out what your principal and interest payment will be. Don't have a mortgage calculator? Get it for free. rsrlinks.com/mobile app. rsrlinks.com/mobile app. You can get your mobile calculator for free. Okay, so what did the rates do on Friday? Conventional 30-year fix, 6.611. That was down. Jumbo 30-year fix, 6.768. That was up. FHA 30-year fix, 6.385. That was up. VA 30-year fixed, 6.186. That was down. USDA 30-year fixed, 6.306. That one was down. What are the rates doing today? Well, if you want our thoughts about the market each and every business day morning as early as the rates allow, rsrlinks.com/market minute, rsrlinks.com/market minute. Let's see if we've also got where the markets are doing right now. Let us take a look. The S&P 500 is up 15 points as we speak. And we've got the 10-year Treasury down 5 basis points, 4.27. Mortgage-backed securities, that's the bond. It's up 9 basis points, which means interest rates are down ever so slightly. That's less than 1/8 of a point when you look at 9 basis points. Up for the bond, rates go down. What's driving all of this? Well, we've got a couple of things that are going on right now. Empire State Manufacturing Index measures manufacturing activity in the New York region, fell negative -20, which was much weaker than the -1 expected. General business conditions fell dramatically by 26 points, while the forward-looking conditions fell by another 10 points. Some of the labor components, like hours worked, were also down. This continues to show the weakness in the manufacturing sector in the United States. Scott Besson spoke over the weekend explaining that the correction in the stock market is healthy and that keeping up at these irresponsible spending levels would be unsustainable and lead to a financial crisis. He said that we are resetting and getting on a sustainable path. Retail sales in February reported at 0.2%, which was weaker than the 0.6% expected. Adding to the weakness of the report was a downward revision to January, which was originally reported at -0.9, but was revised down to -1.2. Ow! On the other hand, core retail sales, which is most important, rose 1%, which was hotter than the estimates of a 0.4%. There was, however, a downward revision to January. It was originally reported at -8.8%, but revised lower to -1%, which tempers today's reading a bit. Now, have to see how this report is interpreted by the Atlanta Fed, who is due to release a new Q1 GDP estimate today. The most recent reading was a -2.4%. And this is all going to play into the Fed, who's going to conclude their 2-day meeting on Wednesday, hoping for a little luck of the Irish that day. The statement will be released at 2 p.m. Eastern time. For those of you doing the math, it's 11 o'clock here on the West Coast, followed by a Jerome Powell press conference. The Fed will also release their SEP, the Summary of Economic Projections, which gives us a new projection of how many rate cuts this year and where they think the economy and unemployment rate will be this year. We know the Fed is going to pause at this meeting and not cut rates, but they have promised us that they would stop quantitative tightening of balance sheet reduction this year. So we'll see if they mention the timing of that at this meeting. Once they do stop balance sheet reduction, they'll have to reinvest around $40 to $45 billion per month back into treasuries, which could help rates. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So you hear me talk on the broadcast all the time about how strategy beats rate always. Strategy beats rate always. So I figured I would throw in some numbers for you today. And I wanted to chat because this is a family that I was consulting over the weekend. And they're military. So, and we love the military. They're the greatest. We just love working with the veterans. And one of the best loans on the market is the VA loan. And we chat about that. And why do I talk about that VA loan? Well, the reason I want to look at that one is just because when we're talking about the VA loan, we've got a no down payment loan. And I had this family that they're asking me about this concept. And what they really wanted to know was, okay, should we put down $10,000 or not? And I said to them, as I always do, strategy beats rate always. Strategy beats rate always. So what do I mean by that? Well, number one, we find a lot of times our veterans, they don't stay put very long, right? Thankfully, they've got reassignments. And from what I hear, a good many of them change stations. It's called PCS, permanent change of station, every 3 years or so. Okay, so if that's the case, then why are we worried about down payment when their required down payment is zero? And I like to talk about this as well from the standpoint of, what is it that we're trying to accomplish? So they came back right after they said, okay, maybe we'll put down $10,000. And they said, okay, but what if we, instead of putting down $10,000, and we think we better stick with $5,000 because we need a new refrigerator. I said, wow, that's a pretty nice refrigerator you're looking at there. So if we look at just using a 6.25% interest rate, I have no idea, sitting here talking to you right now, what their interest rate will be, but I'm just going based on pretty close to where we were on Friday's OBMMI number, 6.25%. And I'm not giving you the APRs or any of those kind of things. All I want to do is give you the numbers that are principal and interest. So on a 6.25% interest rate, we're looking at roughly, and I'm just giving you rough numbers because I don't know exactly what their taxes and insurance will be, but I know that we're looking at taxes and insurance. If we do a zero down payment, we're looking at a payment of about $2,062. Now, what if we were to do that $5,000 down payment? We save $30 a month. $30 a month. Now, let me ask you this. If I said to you, I want you to put $5,000 into a savings account that's going to give you zero interest, and you can't touch it until you either sell it or sell the investment or restructure the investment, refinance the investment. Would that be a good deal to you? You'd probably say, Ron, you got to be nuts. Why would I put money into a savings account or any kind of an investment where I'm guaranteed a rate of return of zero? Well, that's the rate of return of home equity. Always. Now, you may say, Ron, I want to have my house paid off. And I get it. But at what expense? We chatted with some folks just recently, and I do this one in seminars all the time. $400,000 loan. And that's not an outrageous loan here in California. And let's just say on that $400,000 loan that you're looking at a payment, let's get something somewhat close, of $400,000 loan. You're probably going to be looking at a payment, again, using that, let's go at a more traditional, not using the VA loan. And you're looking at a $400,000 loan is looking at about $3,091 a month, which is pretty close to the numbers that we use in our seminars. Now, if you were to take and put that $400,000, and I've had people sometimes will say, well, Ron, I'm just going to pay cash for my house, $400,000. Okay. Is that the right choice? Well, if you take and put that $400,000 into a safe and secure investment, over time, that's going to grow to be about $7.5 million. Now, if you keep making payments, the appreciation on that property over time is going to grow, and you're going to have an appreciation there of about roughly $5 million over 30 years. So the decision to pay cash costs you about $2 million, roughly. $2 million that costs you. Is that a good investment for you? No. Obviously, you'd rather have an extra $2 million over 30 years. Now, the people that want to tell me, well, Ron, I want to have my house paid off. Okay, do you want to wait 30 years to pay it off? Or do you want to pay it off in maybe 15 or 16 years? The strategy I just shared with you, you could actually write a check to pay off your property, 15, 16 years, 17 years, something along those lines. But the bottom line here is the strategy gives you a lot of options that you don't have any other way. So once again, I say to you, strategy beats rate always. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, rising inventory means this spring could be your moment, and you've outgrown your home, but is now really the right time to move? We'll chat about all that and more. Reach me anytime, off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Rising inventory means this spring could be your moment. Want to know 2 reasons this spring might be your time to buy? Inventory has grown, and sellers may be more willing to negotiate as a result. That means you've got more options and more power than buyers have had in years. Let's break it down. Number 1, you have more homes to choose from. The number of homes for sale this February was higher than it's been in any of the past 5 Februarys, and that's great news for your home search. The graph that we are seeing right now, if you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of the socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 and FM 98.1 video feed, shows uses the latest data from Realtor.com to show the supply of homes on the market has grown by 27.5% in just the last year. Now, if you want to know what's happening in your neighborhood, well, we've got the tool for you, and it costs you absolutely nothing. rsrlinks.com/market report. rsrlinks.com/market report. We give you the properties that are available for sale, what's going on in your market, because each and every week our services will follow or monitor every home for sale in every zip code in the United States. More choices for your search is a good thing. And experts also say that inventory is projected to continue rising this year, which is even better. It means it should be easier to find something that checks your most important boxes. But that's not all this does for you. Danielle Hale, chief economist at Realtor.com, explains some of the other perks of more inventory beyond just having more homes to consider. Quote, buyers will not only have more home options, but they also are also likely to find somewhat lower asking prices and more time to make decisions. All buyer-friendly factors as we inch closer to the busy home buying season, unquote. Now, obviously, if you're thinking of buying a house, you've got to have the buyer's guides. We have our annual guide, rsrlinks.com/HBG 2025. And we have our quarterly update, rsrlinks.com/HBG, rsrlinks.com/HBG. Second, you may find sellers are doing price cuts. Now that buyers have more options, some homes are sitting on the market a little longer, especially those that were priced too high from the start. As the result is more sellers are having to drop their prices to draw buyers back in. Just take a look at the numbers. According to Realtor.com, the number of listings with price reductions has gone up compared to the last few years. Again, a graph showing the sellers are lowering their asking price. Listings with price cuts February of each year. And again, for your local zip code, rsrlinks/ I always forget it. Market report, rsrlinks.com/market report. We tell you exactly how many price cuts have been going on in your market. So again, the data is great to have national data, but we want you to have your exact zip code that you're shopping in so that you can find that information out. Sign as a seller. Easy for me to say. It's Monday, St. Patrick's Day, and I haven't even had a drink. This is a sign sellers are more willing to compromise today. If you look back to more normal years in the market, 2017 to 2019, you'll see that the number of price cuts happening today is much closer to what's typical. And for most buyers, that's a big relief. What does that mean for you? It could give you a better chance to negotiate, whether that's on price, closing costs, or even repairs. While not every seller will adjust their price, more of them are willing to do it, giving you more leverage than buyers have in quite some time. And I'm going to tell you, as I share all the time, strategy beats rate always. I've told you that before. We all know that. Strategy beats rate always. But what do I mean by that when I'm talking about the pricing? Well, don't ask for the price cut. There's so many people that are so busy worrying about a price cut, they don't think about the idea of using the exact same dollars to get a rate cut. Have the seller buy down the interest rate for you. Now, there are temporary buy downs and there are permanent buy downs. I prefer the permanent, but go to rsrlinks.com/buy down. rsrlinks.com/buy down. And you can actually see where we've gone through and explained all of these situations to you and how much more money you save. Now, just in small numbers, if you get a $25,000 buy down from the seller, that's the equivalent of a $75,000 price cut. So ask the seller on a $500,000 house if they're going to give you if they'll take $425 for it. They might, but it's going to take a long time for them to agree to it, if ever. But if you say, I want to get a 5% concession towards buying down the interest rate, and it has to be done the right way because we don't want you to get caught with predatory and high-cost lending violations. That'll blow up your deal. We know the right way to do it. But this might save you 1 to 1.5 points in interest rate. Now, what does 1 to 1.5 points in interest rate mean to you? Well, it's huge, because if we were to go and we say you're buying a $500,000, that you got a let's say a $650,000 house, and you've got a 20% down, and we've got a 6.5% interest rate. Okay, your principal and interest payment. Again, I'm not giving you the APRs. All I'm doing is trying to educate you here. Your principal and interest payment on that, with 20% down, it's a $520,000 loan, is $32.86 a month. 32. Whoops, got the wrong price. 6.5, not 9.5. 38.14 a month. 32.86 a month. 32.86 a month. Okay, now if we can get a buy down to say 5%. We're at 32.86. Now we're going to go to a 5% interest rate is going to bring you down. It didn't work. Something's going fishy on my computer here, so I can't give you the exact number. But what I just want to get you these numbers. Yeah, there's a problem in my spreadsheet here. But the bottom line is you're going to save massive amounts of money. You're going to save massive amounts of money, way more over time than anything else you can do. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, got more to go over with you. We're going to talk about you've outgrown your home, buy, but is now the right time to move. Well, that's unique for everybody, isn't it? You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Who Do You Know segment today being brought to you by GetHomeselect.com. GetHomeselect.com. Almost got the tout wrong there, Josh. Who Do You Know segment brought to you by GetHomeselect.com. Let's see here. You ever looked around your home and realized it's no longer meeting your family's needs? Yeah, a lot of times we do that. Maybe your house feels too small, too cluttered, or simply outdated. You're not alone. Many homeowners are feeling stuck in homes they've outgrown, held back by fears of higher mortgage rates or uncertain market conditions. But let me ask you this. Could waiting to move actually cost you more in the long run? Here's what I hear almost daily. Ron, we love the idea of upgrading, but we're waiting until interest rates drop. It's understandable. The thought of trading in a historically low mortgage rate for a higher one is daunting. It asks yourself honestly, how much longer can you comfortably stay in a home that's clearly holding you back? Here's a critical reality check. Home prices are still climbing, even as we speak. Waiting for that perfect market window could mean facing even higher prices down the road, greater competition, and potentially missing out on the ideal home for your family's evolving needs. Staying put might feel safer today, but at what cost to your family's quality of life tomorrow? The good news, and yes, there is good news, is that if you've owned your home for several years, you're likely sitting on a significant buildup of equity. This equity can be your secret weapon in overcoming today's higher rates. Innovative financing strategies like temporary mortgage rate buydowns or permanent buydowns or home equity reinvestment offer practical solutions to make your next move affordable and smart. Don't forget, we've got the information for you about the buydowns. rsrlinks.com/buydown. rsrlinks.com/buydown. Here's how you can turn your current home into the stepping stone for your dream home. Assess your equity. Identify how much equity you have and understand how leveraging it could put your next home within reach right now. Explore temporary or permanent buydowns. Programs like the popular 2-1 buydown can dramatically reduce your monthly payments for the first 2 crucial years, easing your transition into your new home. Analyze the true cost of staying versus moving. Look at long-term appreciation potential, future maintenance costs on your current home, and the significant financial upside of upgrading sooner rather than later. I know the idea of moving right now feels complicated, maybe even stressful. But imagine the relief and the excitement of finally living in a home that perfectly fits your lifestyle and future goals. Strategic debt management isn't just about numbers. It's about leveraging your resources smartly to enhance your family's quality of life. Are you ready to find out if now is truly the right time for your next move? As your Certified Liability Advisor, CLA, I specialize in helping families just like yours strategically manage debt and build long-term wealth. Here's the first step. Simply send us a message saying move and schedule a personalized home and equity affordability review. You can do that rsrlinks.com/bookrs30. rsrlinks.com/bookrs30. And we'll do a home and equity review for you. Together, we'll develop a clear, customized battle plan that makes sense for you, your finances, and your family's future. Don't let fear keep you trapped. Your ideal home and the financial strategy to get there is closer than you think. And again, maybe you just want to keep that property you've got, rent it out if you've got a great financial structure. Maybe you want to do a home equity line of credit on it to get some liquidity. Don't we always talk about safety, liquidity, and return? And buy that new house and do some of the strategies we've talked about. That's the Who Do You Know segment brought to you by GetHomeselect.com, GetHomeselect.com. You know, it's amazing, all the different things that we talk about on Ron Siegel Radio, and they all come back to the same concept of strategy. And it's amazing how many things the strategy is it's the most important part of everything we do when as a certified liability advisor. We're always looking at the components. You know, in that last segment where I was just giving you information about buying that home that's probably more conducive to your needs, the whole idea came down to the idea of strategy. Now, we've talked about this, especially if you've got 20, 30 years left in your working career. Everything we do, if you think about it, when we're doing all our finances and strategy, we're significantly discussing the concept of cash flow, current cash flow, future cash flow. That's really what we're talking about. So when I talk to you about the idea of let's take a look at your departing property, the one that's too small, and you don't want to sell because you're sitting there looking at a great interest rate. Well, number one is the interest rate what's holding you back. Maybe over the last 3 or 4 years, you've gained a lot of equity in that property. And again, as I mentioned to you in the prior segment, we were talking about this idea of being able to go and buy a house and, using strategies like the buy down, rsrlinks.com/buy down, to get a lower interest rate. And I was mentioning to you the idea of what happens if we are able to get the interest rate bought down by even, say, a point or a point and a half. So we look and we say, okay, according to OBMMI, they told us that as of Friday, again, I'm not giving APRs, I'm just educating here. We were looking at an interest rate of 6.611. Okay, and if I'm just going to put 6 and 5/8 in there. 6.625, that's a good round number. And we bought a property and we did a $625,000 purchase with $500,000 as the loan amount. Our principal and interest payment is $39.77. $39.77. Now, pay full price for the property. Don't haggle on it, but ask for 5% as a concession. And you got to do it the right way, as I mentioned before. 5% as a concession to help buy down the interest rate. And let's just say we get that interest rate down to 5.25. Now, remember I told you that with that 6.625, we're looking at a $39.77 payment, principal and interest, taxes, and insurance. Now we go down to $35.37. So we're looking at $39.77 versus $35.37. That's about $425 a month. $425 a month savings on that property by using the right strategy. Now, how long do you think it is for that break-even point? Well, we could figure that out just by looking at $425 divided by the 5%, which is $30,000, roughly. So we're saying $30,000. Put it somewhere I can see it here. Let's say $30,000 divided by 425, say. So it's 6 years, 5 years, almost 6 years. So if you're going to be there that long, does that make sense to you? Now, you can always use that extra money to pay down the rate, the interest, but what if you took that money and put it in some sort of a strategic account? These are the things that we talk about when we're talking about strategy. What we're talking about is time horizon. How long do you plan on being in the property? Because anybody can go and give you, and I noticed that last week, Rocket bought Redfin. Why did they buy Redfin? Because they want to make it that easy button that they're talking about, where they just say, okay, they want you to know everything. Now, you don't do this every day. I do. You buy a house, every 9 to 13 years, depending upon which study you look at. You're keeping your loan 5.5 years. Interest rates go up, interest rates go down, and they ask you to fill in the slider. Are you putting 20% down, 10% down? And I've got the spreadsheet in front of me right now of every one of those numbers. I could tell you that if you put 10% down, what your payment is that you're looking at. But why would I do that to start with? Well, I know why you're asking it, because you don't know any other questions to ask. That's normal. The average person doesn't know the extra questions to ask because they're not doing this every day. So what if you did an 80-10-10? Well, they don't have that on the slider for you. They're not telling you how to do that one and how to deal with that and get your payment at $4,615. $4,615. These are all items that are possible. And I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you today. Every number I've shared with you all comes down to the exact same thing. Strategy beats rate always. And if you don't know all the different strategies, how are you going to study them? How are you going to figure out what's right for you and your family? How are you going to be the veteran that I talked to over the weekend? And I said, something, don't put that extra money into your property where you have no access to it. Let's put it, maybe you want to check with your financial advisor in putting it into a Roth IRA. Why would you do a Roth IRA, Ron? Well, look at the rules of the Roth IRA. I'm not giving you financial advice, but in many cases, the rules of the Roth IRA, you can take that money back out again if you need to. But now you've got $5,000 sitting there, and instead of going for a $500 or $1,000 deductible on your home insurance, you can look into doing maybe a $5,000 deductible on your home insurance because you've already got the money sitting there. So you're going to save a boatload of money on your insurance every year for hopefully you don't ever need it. But if you do, you've got the higher deductible, the money's already sitting there, and maybe the money that you would save every single year on your insurance, take and throw that money into the Roth IRA as well. And the money that you put into the Roth IRA is put in there after tax. So that money gets to come out with no taxes. And the growth grows with no taxes. Again, I'm not giving you tax advice. I'm just telling you my understanding. Talk to your financial advisors, talk to your CPAs or enrolled agents, and make sure that your situation and that the advice I'm giving you is correct. You could probably even go to our friend ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT if the advice I'm giving you is correct. But again, if you don't have the right strategies, how do you do all these things? You go and you put that money into the home where now you don't have any access to it. That's not the right strategy. That's going to hurt you over time. Now, again, over time, I want to make sure that you've got the right strategy for keeping your FICO scores as high as possible. Go to rsrccpayment.com. rsrccpayment.com. Make sure there, too, that you're following the right strategy to maximize your FICO scores. And if you say, Ron, I pay my credit cards all off as soon as I get the statement, congratulations, you're one of the 95% that are paying your credit cards the wrong way for FICO scoring purposes. Aren't you the lucky one? Because you didn't go and watch the video, rsrccpayment.com. As always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we always talk about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We will talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.